he built it, رفع سمكها فسواها, and how he makes it very high, and he designed it in this special way. وأغطش ليلها وأخرج. He talks about the night. He talks about how he brings the water and takes care of the land, mountains. He talks about all of that, and this is meant for a purpose. But even though we have this in our holy book القرآن الكريم, تجد المسلمين في ذيل الأمم التي تهتم بهذا الأمر. Maybe Muslims nowadays are the tail of the nations that will focus on something like this. How to take care of this earth that we live in. Again, the fact of the matter, if we do not take care of it, we will be causing harm to us indirectly. Directly or indirectly, we are harming. By harming the environment, we are harming ourselves. We are causing darar. And the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is clear in there, لا ضرر ولا ضرار. No harm should be committed, or that could lead to more harm directly or indirectly. If that could be a good translation of the hadith. Nowadays, the environment we live in, we smell an air that's polluted. This is, 100%. We have close himself. ألم تروا أن الله سخر لكم ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وأسبغ عليكم نعمه ظاهرة وباطنة. You can take care of the kids, please. Allah يجزيكم الخير. We have very nice room out there. They can go play. So please, at least in the times of prayers, in times of duru's, we need to keep it, somehow quiet, inshallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses examples of how He created and how He made it accessible and easy for us to use as-sama fi samawat, everything in the samawat, everything in the earth. وَأَسْبَغَ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعَمَهُ ظَاهِرَةً, and how He gives us all of these blessings that we see. Blessings of food is from trees. Trees is from, creation of Allah from the land, and we have to keep it clean, and we have to keep it wholesome, so it will continue to give us ni'am. Otherwise, if we change it, in other words, we are changing the ni'am of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَن يُبَدِّلْ نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ مِن بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَتْهُ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. Whoever alters the ni'mah, the blessing of Allah after it reaches him, Allah is stern in punishment. Allah will punish for that. If somebody causes corruption for the environment, yes. And I will quote in a minute a direct hadith, a hadith that talks about this directly. But Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is talking about it in a positive form, like he would urge somebody, من كانت له أرض فليزرعها أو ليمنحها أخاه. Whoever gets a piece of land, he should cultivate it or plant, put it for cultivation and use it this way. If not, he should give it to somebody who will do it who will do that. And subhanallah, we see nowadays Umran وكذا, the urban cities is getting bigger, and we are eating up more and more of the cultivated land, the land that produces us with what we need to live. More and more of that, we are actually, what we have nowadays, cultivated land, is much less than we had back in the 40s and 50s. Just short time ago, a few years back, we are running out of the land that is can be cultivated. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam also said, "Man a'mara ardan laysat li ahad, fahuwa ahaq biha." Whoever gets a piece of land and make it, good to plant in, like you take it, it was kind of nobody taking care of it, it doesn't belong to anybody, and he, يعني, أعمرها, he makes it, he puts, some kind of, makes it ready to be cultivated, then it belongs to him. He has more right to take it than anybody else. In saying that, he sallallahu alaihi wasallam is urging us to make i'mar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, هو أنشأكم من الأرض واستعمركم فيها. It is Him subhanahu wa ta'ala who created you from earth, and He asked you to make life, to make it livable and to make life possible in there. Again, the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not one or two or three ahadith. A lot of ahadith that can never be understood unless, it means a trend and a direction towards taking care of our environment. Another hadith, ما من مسلم يغرس غرسا, no Muslim who will plant a plant, أو يزرع زرعا فيأكل منه طير أو إنسان أو بهيمة إلا كان له به صدقة. You wouldn't put a plant or a tree or anything that a human being or animal or bird or anything eats from it, except that you will take sadaqah from it. It will count as charity. Sadaqah is usually one of the very good things, ibadat al-Islam, yani. You can get that if you just put a plant that will be useful, that people will use it. It's not only for the little food that they will eat from it, but because it helps the ecosystem of the entire earth. How much oxygen this forest, the Amazon forest, is providing the entire earth. I believe it was 40% of all the oxygen is coming from there. And now it is being cut, systematically cut and completely eradicated, which means that the oxygen that's been produced is less. And you can imagine what this can lead, can cause and lead to. And now the carbon emission and all of these gases, it leads to what we are living in nowadays. It's not something that we only hear about and see and watch in the news. It's something that's affecting us as we speak it right now. The ice in the poles are melting, and the seas and oceans are rising, and that literally will eradicate and remove from the maps entire countries in the matter of just a few years, or maybe 100, 200 years. You're not talking about long time. If you 100 or 200 is not too long if you're talking about the history. If we do not really take care of this environment, that's going to be it's going to be destroyed very soon. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam again is giving us إذا قامت الساعة إن قامت الساعة وبيد أحدكم فسيلة. If the hour is about to come right now, the end of the time, and you have this plant in your hand, offshoot in your hand, فإن استطاع ألا تقوم حتى يغرسها فليفعل. And if you are capable of planting it before the hour comes, it's the end of the time. It's not going to see life, but teaching us to be positive, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to take care of the environment to the last minute. To the last minute, فليفعل بلام الأمر. He should do it. He should do it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, we read in the Quran how He is kind of indirectly telling us to take care of the trees in a specific. قال وهو الذي أنشأ جنات معروشات وغير معروشات والنخل والزرع مختلفا أكله والزيتون والرمان متشابها وغير متشابه كلوا من ثمره إذا أثمر وآتوا حقه يوم حصاده. He's talking about Him subhanahu wa ta'ala being the one that established Jannat, all of these gardens of different kinds of plants, and the palm trees, different plantations, مختلفا أكله, of different tastes, of different colors. He's talking about it. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is kind of showing His creation and His blessings by creating that, what does it mean? That we have to take care of it. If we don't take care of it, we don't really understand those ayat in here. And we see nowadays all kinds of problems happening because of eradicating, trees for the wood. They use the wood of those trees. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in one hadith he said, even though a hadith is talking about specific conditions, but the lafظ عام, يعني the wording is kind of general. قال من قطع سدرة صوب الله رأسه في النار. حديث رواه أبو داود بسند صحيح. Whoever cuts a specific kind of tree, sidra, شجرة السدر يعني, specific kind of tree that's usually very big, whoever cuts it, bring it down and cuts it, so Allah will take his head and put it in the fire. What the hadith is talking about ulama قالوا it might refer to the trees of Mecca and Medina in specific, because it's kind of مجتمع صحراوي في الغالب. It's kind of a city that doesn't have a lot of trees. So trees there are very precious that people will take shade under, that will mean a lot for people. It also refers to قال بعضهم الأشجار التي تكون في يعني أماكن الراحة يستريح فيها المسافرون وكذا. Rest areas, if you like, back then in the middle of the desert, big trees that entire caravans and hundreds of people will just take rest under this tree. So you can imagine cutting one tree like that means what? Means depriving the people from a very valuable source for them, rest areas, if you like. It refers to this specific situations, yet من قطع سدرة, whoever cuts it, even though consensus of scholars that it can be cut, no problem. But again, for no reason, why would you cut a tree? Especially when we have texts like that. If you do not have any reason, why would you do? Why would you do that? Why Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would go out of track? He came to teach people what? Prayer, fasting, having good akhlaq. All of these ayat and hadith right here. Even at times of wars, enemies of Muslims and their enemies in the battlefield, you don't really have to worry about anything. It's just enemies. Defend yourself, or you need to win this battle. It's matter of life or death. Yet the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would go out of track and would say what? لا تعقروا نخلة ولا شجرة مثمرة. Amongst what he said, do not kill any old person who is not fighting. Do not kill this and that. And then he said, لا تعقروا نخلة. Do not. What's عقرة in Arabic? Usually this verb عقرة is used for what? For animals, slaughtering or sacrificing. And don't slaughter a camel. عقرة مثلا بعيرا أو كذا. He is using the same verb for the tree. This verb, he didn't say لا تقطعوا. It could have easily been said do not cut a tree. But he dealt with what does it mean? If you use the verb, which is عقرة, which is slaughter, that's usually used with animals, with living things, and he used it with a tree. لا تعقروا نخلة أو نخلا. It means that he is giving it that respect. It's as if you slaughter. It's not just cutting a tree, it's you slaughtering. You are slaughtering that kind on that source of life in there. Even in times of war. Talking about water, he will give us a hadith sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Part of our deen is لا يبولن أحدكم في الماء الراكد ثم يغتسل منه. You're not supposed to go urinate in water that stays still, and then you go take shower in it, because a pond or something, or it's kind of a small lake, you don't want to pollute it in this way, let alone dumping chemicals in there and every kind of thing that's much worse than urination or anything like that. He will give us the smallest and the slightest guidelines for how to even use things, hygienic advices in the best way. قال على سبيل المثال إذا استيقظ أحدكم من نومه فلا يغمسن أو فلا يغمس يده في الإناء حتى يغسلها ثلاثة. You wake up at night. Back then, water, they used to have them in containers. It's not you open the faucet, it gives you water, and then you actually open it all the way and let it run. That's what happens. You make an wudu and you're using 10 gallons, 20 gallons. Why? Because you open it all the way and you are busy in a nice, interesting talk with the one next to you. That is a waste. هذا إسراف. This is waste. And actually, there is a hadith about this specific thing. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam saw Sa'ad radiallahu anhu making wudu. And he said, ما هذا السرف يا سعد? What is that kind of extravagance and waste, سعد? قال في وضوء سرف يا رسول الله. He said, are you saying that in me making wudu there is saraf? It can be extravagant or waste? What do you mean? Like this concept is not there. قال نعم وإن كنت تغتسل من نهر جاري. He said, yes, even though you are making wudu from a flowing water, river. Flowing river, you need to, I like the concept that the school was propagating, still propagating, reduce, reuse, recycle, right? This is in the Quran. ولا تسرفوا حتى يعني الذين إذا أنفقوا لم يسرفوا ولم يقتروا وكلوا واشربوا ولا not eat too much. والعلماء فرقوا بين السرف أو الإسراف والتبذير. Some scholars they said إسراف in Arabic في المباحات is to use something permissible, but you use it a lot. Yes, you can use the water, but you use it a lot, you waste. That is إسراف. التبذير يكون في المعاصي. تبذير, and another word used for it, it's usually إن المبذرين كانوا إخوان الشياطين. For example, they use not only they commit some معاصي but a lot of معاصي or disobedience. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is telling us, we read instructions about trees, about how to take care of the water, how to use the water in the right way and not a wasteful way, how to even cover the water and reuse it again. غطوا الإناء وأوفوا السقاء فإن كذا إلى آخر الحديث. حتى في التراب قال في حديث اتقوا الذرة يعني الغبار فإن منه النسمة يعني الجراثيم والأمراض. He said try to avoid the dust or the wind that comes with dust because it might affect you. It has some germs and stuff, and nowadays we see that happening. To the least advices, he said إماطة الأذى عن الطريق صدقة. Whoever removes a harmful item from the road of the people, it counts as sadaqah. And now we see all of these harmful items to the plastic, for example. All the plastic items that end up being in the ocean or being in the rivers, and it really interrupts the entire ecosystem. It's something that we don't really care much about. Those bottles of water, I was watching something about how many millions or billions of bottles of water, plastic bottles of water, and how they end up and how much they are costing or they are affecting the environment from something that is very small like this. من أماط أذى عن طريق المسلمين كتب له حسنة. Whoever removes a harmful item from the way of Muslims, a hasana or a good deed will be added to him. وقال لقد رأيت رجلا يتقلب في الجنة في شجرة قطعها من ظهر الطريق كانت تؤذي الناس. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, I saw a man in Jannah, in the heaven. He's kind of enjoying it. They're rolling in Jannah because of a tree that was harming people. Now this is a fallen tree, or this is a dead tree that was harming people, and he kind of removed it. And so many other instructions. اتقوا الملاعن الثلاثة. يعني basically Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is giving us all of these advices, how to take care of all the resources, being it water or air or food, trees, what have you, and how not to pollute the environment by, back then they didn't have all of these chemicals, but now he's talking about peeing or doing this and that in places that could pollute the environment somehow. He said that sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He's basically talking about also reusing and reducing by in the Quran. وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا إِنَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. Do not be extravagant because Allah does not like those who go extravagant. I don't want to make it too long. It's meant to be short, inshallah. But at this time, feel free to share anything that you might have with us as far as this topic, inshallah. تفضل.
So first time I arrived in this country in college, and we were removing olive trees. Now they don't produce olive. They do, but nobody cares about it. Right? So they want to remove them. It's not a service for me. It was my bottom. Why they go all to the stubble and cost to box them, remove them actually. They go around them and box them with herbs and me, I'm coming from that kind of culture which this destroys this bulldozer. And these people who don't have that concept of environment, the divine. They're doing it outside the divine. And it has been a lesson for me ever since that sometimes with us, with the divine order, it's more coming from us take care of the environment than those non-Muslims, but they're still doing it because even though they're not following the divine order, but they're doing it as something Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instilled in the Sunnah, human beings, is to respect the environment.
Many of the aspects of our Islam we do not really pay attention to. As I said in the beginning, this is part of our faith. I just quoted in this short talk no less than a bunch of ahadith and ayat talking about how to take care of our environment in general. This is there. This is there. This tree, this one single tree produces oxygen, purifies the air. So if you are doing that, I am doing that, every person is doing that. What are we doing? Every year, it says every year, this is a statistic I came across as I was reading this, the amount of trees that are being removed from the forests in the world every year equals the Austria, the country, and Nimsa, Austria in Europe. So the area of Austria, every year from the entire world, that area of trees is being removed from the world, an entire country. So that is really sad. You could really imagine 100 years from now or 200 years, if that goes on like that, what's going to happen? That's going to be the end of the life, and we see it already coming right now with the global warming and all of these things. And at the same time, the humans are going to be doubled and tripled, so they will need more amounts of food, more amounts of air, oxygen, and all of that. And in the same time, it's dropping. The oxygen is dropping, or those trees are being cut on a systematic basis. More and more cars are being, the emissions of all of these things. More and more technology is actually, getting there. So it's part of our faith now to go green somehow, to be efficient in the way we use things, not to pollute the air, care for it, and do it from that perspective that it is. The Sheikh was talking about it in the masjid. Actually, he quoted ayat and hadith talking about it. When you read the ayat and hadith, read and read for yourself. What does it mean? What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mean when he talks for pages and pages about how he created? Actually, the way he created the samawat wal ard, he didn't make the and it is. He created the trees in one day, this in one day, this in one day. That's meant for a purpose. تفضل يا
have any relation with Apple, describe the example that the woman that is being converted to non-solar tree.
لا cut it يعني لا تعقروها, he means do not cut it. Do not cut it.
No relation between both words.
أنا وزن بتاعي
لا هو عاقر اوكي يعني احنا عندنا العلامه لا يفتى مالك في المدينه الدكتور ابراهيم.
هو عقل فعلا احنا عليه في البوديز بقى ومرأة في عقل.
نعم.
نعم.
العقل لعقل الناقة
قطع حاد.
يعني هي معنى عدم استمرار الحياة.
نعم.
whether by non-production or by actual.
Subhanallah. Still the meaning is there. So ceasing the life of an animal for no reason. Actually, even animals as well. We cannot kill animals in Islam for no reason. إلا لمأكله. He said in the same thing. ولا تقتلوا كذا حيوان أو كذا أو لا تحقروا حيوان إلا لمأكله. Unless you're going to eat it. So it's not just like a game. We don't do it for game. Even a little bird. There's a hadith actually that when you kill an animal for no purpose, he will come and the day يحاج يقول يا رب اسأله لما قتلني. Hadith. If you kill a bird, he will come in the day for no reason. And he said, "Oh my Lord, ask him. Oh God, oh Allah, ask him. Why did this? لما قتلني هذا? Why did this kill me?" So it's clear in here that we don't do anything for no purpose unless it's really necessary and you have to do. But to do it for fun and kill all of these things, that's something that we Muslims do not do, and our religion just does not accept that. تفضل.
How much water is wasted while you are making the bowl? If you let the pot open until you get to see from the ground, you from 3 seconds, multiply it by 1 billion, let's say, practice times 5 times, prayer,
And that's just for wudu. What if they've taken shower? That's a disaster. Not only for Muslims, actually it's a culture. Everybody, we need to do it. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's narrated how much water he used for wudu and how much water he used for ghusl. And until now, if I quote the hadith, and we all know the hadith, it's kind of hard for us to comprehend it. Simply because we did not live this culture. Even the civilizations nowadays, Europe, Australia, West in general, it's kind of not understandable. How can he make wudu with a handful of water, just which is like a cup of water? But he did it. That's the hadith. And he takes a full bath shower with 4 of them, 4 cups of water. He did it. Because there's no need to use those 20 or 30 or 50 gallons just to take a shower, and most of that water is not even used. SubhanAllah. And all of us is guilty of that. Like, we need to kind of reset the campus so we can practice Islam better in ways that we do not really pay attention to. When the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the first one to do that and implement that. Not only that, what we see nowadays, he was implementing it. He was applying and acting it. How much water he used. It's there. Right. So you have to change the GPS from within. The internal chip in there should change. That I need to be a good Muslim. Yes, in Salah and in Siyam and everything, but also in the I have to. Why Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is being sent as an uswa, role model for us. Role model in everything. In how he saves things. In how he is taking care of the environment. In all of these instructions that he gave alayhi salatu wasalam.
I shut the water, and when I have my food there ready, I open and watch. And
I tell you something. This is something I did in my house. I did it for this and for, actually, to be honest, for different purposes as well. I reached out to the main shut off down there, not the main one, the one under the sink, and I reduced it a little bit. So even if I open it all the way, it's not gonna give me that strong flow of water. Still, some water is coming out. It's not that much, but I'm sure that I saved in this process hundreds and hundreds of gallons of water. So these ideas can be beneficial. Dr. Ibrahim.
Usually open the faucet to the maximum.
Yes, I did it. I did it in the masjid here, to be honest. Also, I did it here a few times, but then somebody else opened them wide all the way again. But again, we need to start practicing this culture ourselves first, and then spread it to others as well. Other Dr. Ibrahim.
Some people find being spelled and saving. Many scholars recommend spelling compatible with this for long time.
But in the same time, yes, in the إسباغ الوضوء, just making wudu thoroughly. يعني النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم حرم الزيادة على الثلاث. He said if you do more than 3, in many hadith, it's لا يستحب. It's not right to do it. It's not even recommended. And in some said if you do it intentionally to go over 3, just for the sake of breaking the order of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's haram. It's not right. That's what some scholars said. So isbagh al-wudu, doing it thoroughly, because you can be using gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons of water, and then if you come out, look at the elbow. Its elbow even is not washed right. Al-aqab, the behind the ankle, right. So it's not how much. He's talking about the quality of wudu. that you need to make sure it comes everywhere, it reaches all the parts of wudu. الإمام مالك عنده مثلا مسألة الدلك. يعني he is referring to that you have to rub مثلا البراجم وكذا, those knuckles of the fingers, even if you use a lot of water, a lot of amounts of water, and you open them up, you might see them kind of still, water didn't get there. So he's talking about rubbing, which is not, it doesn't necessarily mean how much water you use, but how do you make the wudu. So you make sure that with this little amount, you make sure it reaches everywhere. So making wudu thoroughly does not mean that you go wasteful. جزاكم الله خيرا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى اله وصحبه.